This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you drive long haul, short haul, or heavy haul, they're here to empower and inspire women in the trades on tncradio.live. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. We're a show that works to inspire and empower women in trucking, in the trades, and everywhere. We tackle all kinds of topics and work to encourage women to be their very best with informative guests and women who've been champions. I'm Shelley, and
I'm Kathy.
No topic is not allowed on our rig. We tackle the tough topics along with the not-so-tough topics. And we like to feature experts and celebrities who can assist women in being the best they can be. We like to feature women who've made major strides in all industries. Many of our listeners are country music fans. Clare Dunn is a country musician who was born and raised in Southeast Colorado. Her debut single, Get Out, in 2013 got her ranked as the highest charting independent female artist on the Music Row Country Breakout Chart in 10 years. She released her second single, Cowboy Side of You, in 2014. She had a major break on the SiriusXM channel, The Highway. And after that, she signed with Universal Group Nashville and BMG. In 2019, Clare was part of CMT's Next Women of Country tour, where she took her talent on the road with Hannah Ellis and Cassidy Pope to New York, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and Boston. Last year, she and country music star Logan Mize collaborated on a trucker-themed music video called Get 'Em Together. The song was named by Rolling Stone as a country music pick of the week. Both Logan and Clare Dunn can drive tractor trailers. Clare is described by Rolling Stone as a performer who can do it all with a big voice, swaggering confidence, and soulful vocals. Bob Seger heard just one of her sound checks and invited her to open his Ride Out tour. She was named One to Watch by USA Today, Billboard, the Boston Globe, and Rolling Stone. She's extremely talented and making major strides, and she's with us today. We're so excited. Clare, thank you for being with us.
Oh, man, it's my honor. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for that introduction. I haven't heard a lot of that stuff in a while. So thank you.
You're amazing. And we'd like to know about your background. I was impressed when I first talked to you on another show here on the station. I didn't know that you actually drove the semi in that video and that you can drive semi.
Oh, yes. Well, so I guess where that all started, I grew up on a farm and ranch in Southeast Colorado and the Oklahoma Panhandle. And I have a sister, and it's just us two girls. And, you know, we just grew up working like any farm kids. If there was a job that needed to be done, we were taught how to do it. And driving trucks was no different than any, you know, it was just another job. So I love driving semis. It's a lot of fun. It's helped pay my way through college. It's helped me live in Nashville when I was first getting going. I used to come home and I drove a silage truck for harvest out here. And that really kept the lights on for a while for me while I was just getting my start in music. So driving truck is something that I cherish to be able to do it. And also, you know, not only just the opportunities that it's given me, but the community that it represents. You know, it's a great community and hardworking, salt of the earth people. And that's what I like.
Drivers keep America rolling. North America, Canada, the United States, you name it. Yeah.
The world. Yep. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't notice that until they ran out of toilet paper in 2020, but
Yes, it's been a challenging year for our trucking, you know, the people who make up our trucking industry. So I appreciate them so much and was lucky to have been taught that appreciation long before 2020. So
Yeah.
You were taught quite a work ethic. Which would you say that that's really helped you to make the strides you have in Nashville?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be nowhere without my work ethic and whatever little bit of talent I was blessed with by God. I don't think it would have mattered because it takes a lot of work to, you know, to be in music like it does to be in trucking and in any industry. And so what I learned on the farm, working hard is just another day. It's like everyone listening, it's nothing new. And it helped me to become a producer. It helped me to do things that a lot of girls don't do in Nashville. A lot of girls aren't tucked away in the studio, nerding out over consoles and turning knobs and making sounds and trying to get a musical vision to come to life. So my work ethic, and really just being raised in an environment where there is nothing you can't do as long as you set your mind to it. All of that has helped me start playing guitar when I first moved to when I first went to college and moved to Nashville, and therefore it helped me become a better songwriter and wanting to be good at my craft. And so yeah, I'd be nowhere without all the hard work and the work ethic I learned growing up. You bet.
You've got a tremendous voice, and you play a mean guitar.
Some days.
I love the songs you write.
Oh,
what inspires you to come up with the different themes and all of that?
Man, a lot inspires me. I think just how I grew up, out here, it's we're on the high plains, and it's a huge, vast, wide open country, and it just goes on forever. It doesn't look like there's a boundary. You can see to the horizon. And I think that vastness has been a huge inspiration to me musically. I'm inspired by everything. And if there's an idea, I want to write about it, anything in life, love, dreams, what we hope for. I think just the stories of who we are as people, as who love the country way of life and who are in it or who admire it. All of those things inspire me. And being at home, I've gotten to be at home more. I still live in Nashville, but I've gotten to spend more time at the farm since COVID. And that freedom has really been inspirational to me, because I feel like I'm here, or I get to see, I get to touch, I get to walk in the place that all of my music comes from, which is, out here where I grew up.
And that's important, I think. Would you say that gives you the ability to have more relatable music that the average person can say, hey, I can relate to that?
I certainly would hope that it comes through. There is a lot of, in this industry, there can be a lot of, I don't want to criticize anybody, but there's a lot of fake stuff out there. Mm-hmm. And I sure hope that my background comes through my music, because it all comes from a very real place, and it's either a place of experience or a place of desire, but whatever it is, it comes from a real place. So yeah, I hope that shines through.
I think that there's a trend with a lot of listeners with country music. They want to hear more of the real stuff.
Oh yeah.
Get back to some of the basics and the roots of country music.
Oh, absolutely. I think that is very much wanted and needed in our genre. There's a lot of things trying to masquerade around as other things in this world. And I think we definitely, we need all the realness we can get. You bet.
I think this song is a really good example of that philosophy and your motivation in your songwriting. And it's aptly titled Real Thing.
Took one look into your eyes and they told me who you are. Didn't have to say a word. Didn't say a word. Small town boy, giving butterflies, throwing fireworks like it's 4th of July, saying, baby, can I kiss you first? Can I kiss you first? And I can't help myself, 'cause no one else has ever made me feel this way. Real
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
So you're planning a new album that's going to be coming out soon, correct?
Yes, they're all, they all feel like I did them yesterday. So they all feel new in a way. But yeah, we've got an EP that's out right now. It's called In This Kind of Light. And as soon as we hang up here, I'm going right back into my little studio and I'm working on new music and I'll have a new project out. I'm really excited about that. And I'm just, creating away, trucking away.
There you go. And that new project, that new album's going to be out next year, which is really cool.
I work with women and youth worldwide.
Mhm.
And I deal a lot with, sexual abuse and domestic violence because that's my history.
Wow.
And what I find a common denominator between either youth and women is that a lot of them, they're overwhelmed by fear and insecurity.
Mhm.
And as soon as an obstacle comes their way, they just stop. They get overwhelmed by whatever obstacle that there is.
Mm.
And I'm a fighter. I'm a trailblazer. I'm going to move that obstacle. I'm going to figure a way out. It might stop me for a day or two or three, but at the end of the week, man, I'm moving, right?
Right.
So what would you say in your career has been your biggest obstacle and how did you get over it?
Wow. I don't know that there's necessarily been just one. I feel like
Or multiple, I know,
yeah.
right?
I feel like it's been a long string of them in some ways.
Yeah.
But you just, no matter what it was or what it is or what it's going to be, I think life, just in general, life does throw you obstacles. And I think for me, I always go back to what, my mom is a very, very strong person, a strong woman, and a very inspirational force in my life. And she just will constantly tell me, there is no quit. It's not an option.
Yeah.
You may as well forget that it's a word. You may as well unlearn the definition of it. And to that, to that end, truly the only failure in life is if you quit. And that's the way I feel about it. I feel like you only have failed if you quit. And I think so much in this society, especially with social media, all day long, especially our young people and people my age and well, everyone, all we see on social media all day long is everyone's successes.
Yes.
And that is intimidating because you see everybody else like, wow, they're so successful. And look at me. What am I doing? I don't feel successful at all. What people who are truly successful in life, people who were truly successful in life before social media, I think what they would tell you is there wasn't a light shown on their failures and they just kept going. And I think what is so important is any success you achieve in life is, there are many failures that come before it, and it's just part of the process. And I think that's the lie that we allow ourselves to believe, is that failure is the result, and it's not. Failure is a part of the success. And the only time failure becomes final is if you quit. And so I think
it's interesting you said that, because yesterday or day before yesterday, I filmed a short video on the Santa Monica boardwalk. I was roller skating, which I'm horrible at it, but that's okay. But I filmed the video just for my followers, just to show them that I was having struggling with mental health and just, depression, and, I'm not reaching my goals fast enough. And I was talking about exactly what you just said about failure and how it's part of success, and how people they seem to see that, I'm in Hall, I'm in LA, I'm doing this, I got all these things on the go, but they don't see the back version, right?
Mm-mm.
They don't see
Yeah.
those days, like that day I went roller skating because I was so stuck in my own head that I needed to get out. So I pushed myself to go do something, right?
Yeah.
They don't see that part. They don't see the tears, the frustration, the hours, the endless hours of trying to put something together and you can't do it and it's not working, or right. And so I
Yeah.
wanted to showcase that exact moment that, like I am really struggling today and I'm having a rough go. So I'm taking time out for myself to regroup,
Yes.
to get a different perspective, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, there's no, I think some things are just sugar coated too much. And it's only your good days that get shown. So kudos to you for allowing people to see maybe a not so good day and trying to get out of it.
Yeah, it's important. It really is.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
So, Claire, when you run into frustration, how do you deal with that? How do you get yourself out of a funk, if you will?
You guys have all the good questions. I think, it's a lot like what Kathy just said. You just push through it. And, for me lately, since 2020, I love to, sometimes when I'm frustrated, I just have to walk away for a minute and then come back. I think one thing for me I've learned is that, don't beat your head against a brick wall. Go, kind of get off your own back for a little bit. And I think that's one of the things that's really been helpful for me is I don't kind of beat myself up as much as I used to. And just walking away from a project for a second, going outside. I love to go check cows. And that sort of, doing any activity like what Kathy was doing. She was roller skating to kind of clear her head. I think it's important to have those small little things that you love to do, and taking little breaks along whatever it is that you're working on. And just kind of getting off your own back, I think is what helps me deal with frustration a little bit.
I think women tend to be harder on themselves.
Oh yeah.
We expect more of ourselves than any man would ever dare think of expecting of himself,
Oh yeah. Totally. We have to look a certain way. We have to, we have to have our hair done and our makeup and all this stuff and cute clothes. And, there's so much pressure put on ourselves, I think, by ourselves and exterior forces, you bet. So yeah, in that regard, I'd like to be a man for a day.
Oh, it'd be so much quicker.
I know.
Brush your teeth, comb your hair, and a lot of them don't shower. So they just, hey, they just show up.
Yeah. Like it's going to go my way. No big deal.
Right. Yeah.
Totally.
How did you get your first break? Did you do anything innovative? Did you have to say, hey, I'm out here? I mean, it's got to be difficult, especially in Nashville. That's got to be a super competitive town.
Oh yeah, it's extremely competitive, and I would say it's become worse than competitive. It's become not that I'm not up for the challenge, but I would never do that to somebody. But it's become pretty cutthroat, and I think that's the sad thing, that what I've seen the town transition into. It's become something else. But just in the general competitiveness, I think for me, I've never had any trouble. I'm a competitive person, but only against myself, if that makes sense. I don't look out at what anyone else is doing. I'm kind of like a racehorse with blinders on, and I can't tell what the horse beside me is doing because I don't take my focus off of my goal long enough to take a glance at what anyone else is doing. Not that I don't wish everybody their own success. I believe there's room for everybody. I believe that there's no reason for anyone not to have their own success. And but for me, I think the way I deal with it is just I don't worry what anyone else is doing. I don't pay attention to it, and I've got my dream and my goal, and whatever that is, I just keep my focus there. And that seemed to be, I think looking back, that was very helpful for me getting going and getting my break, because I didn't care what anyone else was doing. I didn't care what anyone thought of me. I didn't care if anyone thought I was nuts out there, driving around across the country in a pickup and trailer, me and 3 guys going and playing every dive, honky tonk, shack we could get booked into.
Mhm.
And I didn't care about getting my hands dirty. Putting in the hard work. I mean, there's a lot of people in Nashville who would never do that, and maybe have never done that, and that's okay. But it was just my path. And I think everyone just needs to be okay with whatever your path is. It's your path. It's there for a reason, and don't be afraid of it, and don't give a damn what anyone else thinks,
Well said.
I like that. Yeah.
Oh,
And with
Yeah.
social media, everybody's so worried about what everybody else thinks.
Yes.
They didn't give me a like. What am I going to do? Oh my God, my day is ruined,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you have to be on 24/7 all the time. That's got to be tough too, in being a celebrity and all of that. You have to constantly feel like your whole life's out there, and
Yeah.
people want you to update them all the time because they're on their phone all the time.
Yeah. I think for me, I've been pretty lucky, just that I love music so much and I love what I do so much that I never really run out of content or things to say, because I genuinely love music. And I could see where, if you are a very private person, and maybe if you allow that boundary to be crossed. I think for me, I've been fortunate that it's been pretty easy to set that boundary of like my personal life, and my music life. And so those two things have never really crisscrossed. First of all, I wouldn't date a musician anyway. Good God, they don't know how to drive a truck or a tractor. So that.
That's funny.
But the sucky part is trying to date just a normal farmer or rancher or whatever, that's a little tough. But anyway, I just enjoy people. But I get, there's days when I just get to come home and be out in the middle of nowhere, and that's really regenerative to me. I treasure those times of getting to be on the land by myself with the cattle or whatever I'm doing, and sort of that solace kind of fills the gas tank again. And then I just love what I do. So I'm grateful when I get to do it. I'm grateful when when I get some alone time. I just try to keep it all in perspective, because it's a dream and there's nothing better that I could imagine wanting to do. So, I think for me, it's just perspective, and I love what I do.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, is building a positive image of trucking by telling the story of the hardworking drivers and industry professionals who support the industry. And you can be a part of it. Learn more about TMAF and how you can join and be a part of the industry movement working to build a strong image of trucking by visiting TMAF's website at truckingmovesamerica.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our latest channel, TikTok.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
Done playing these city boy games, done chasing those red-eye planes, and killing myself to reheat a flame. Done wondering who's on his line and what he's doing with all his time, and if I'm good so easy, easy, easy to love like Sunday morning. Yeah, he's the strong and silent type. He makes me his first choice. So worth holding, holding, holding out for a cowboy. So worth holding, holding, holding out for a cowboy. Easy, easy, easy. It was so worth holding out for a cowboy.
Another great song by Clare Dunn, Holding Out for a Cowboy. You know, Clare, I think what makes your music so authentic and relatable is you're a country girl at heart. You're really down to earth, and people can relate to that. And you still get your hands dirty and get out there and do work on the ranch. You said you go out and check the cows to relieve your stress. What exactly is that?
Yeah.
Well, depending on what kind of a rancher you are, there's there's a different philosophy for everybody. But we for us, we just jump on. We have a little side-by-side four-wheeler,
Mm-hmm.
and we just right now the cattle are around the home place, and so they'll be shipped off to winter pasture here before too long. But for now, they're here, and so right now we just jump on the four-wheeler, maybe take a cold beverage in the evenings, and we just go out, and it's just a very peaceful time. We're just looking at cattle, looking for any problems, looking for anything that might be a little under the weather, any newborn calves that are having any issues getting going. But generally it's all pretty peaceful, and there's not too much. It's kind of a boring gig, I guess you could say, but I love it. But that's really about it. And probably takes an hour or so. And it's just a relaxing, peaceful way. Cattle are a very gracious and underrated animal, in my opinion. And it's really peaceful to be out there with those creatures, because they are a magnificent creature that give us so much.
I've heard they can be stubborn. You gotta...
Oh, yeah, spicy. You don't want to tango with a mama and her new calf. I will tell you that. So just keep your distance
Mm-hmm.
and hope that everything is okay. But sometimes you have to kind of go in and take care of the calf. If especially out here, we've been having some really terrible blizzards, or I guess they're not blizzards, but terrible cold spells in the past 2 years in February. And it's like Canadian weather. I mean, I'm sure you'll think this is nothing, but for us, we're like -35. Like, what? Like, we can't, that never happens here.
Yeah, that's cold. And
That's
the animals,
cold.
can the animals tolerate that, or do they need to be in a shelter?
Well, the adults can, and depending on the young adults and the adults absolutely can. And it's not pleasant by any means, but they're fine. But the thing that gets tricky is if you have new calves being born, they can't, because they're they're born and they're soaking wet, and they can't fight those elements. So for the past 2 years, we've literally slept in pickups out there in the pastures with cattle, and we can kind of identify the individual cows who look like they could be having their calf in the middle of the night, and we check them every hour and a half, every 2 hours. And as soon as those babies hit the ground, we just got to go scoop them up. And it's, the mamas are very concerned, and some of them let that more than others. But
Yeah.
we pick them up and we take them back to the farm, and we heat them up. We put them in barns with heaters, and we get them going, and we'll feed them their first milk and, get them going. And then we'll take them back, and we just kind of monitor them throughout the day, throughout the night, or throughout the next day. I mean, they stay in the barn all night, but yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding, because you get to see that animal grow and have a great chance.
I imagine that they kind of bond with humans when you do that kind of thing too.
Oh, some, but we had one girl. We've named her Joy, and I found her in a pasture during a cold spell, and she was unexpected. Like none of us, we kind of all missed the signs that she was getting ready to be born. And so I found her and I thought she was dead. And I just jumped out of the pickup. I grabbed her, put her in the floorboard, turned the heater on, and we hauled rear end back to the farm. And she was in the barn in front of the heater for a couple hours. And we just thought, man, we were too late. We missed her. And so my mom had given her some, supplements and some milk and things. And pretty soon, and about 2 hours after that, we hear this banging around. She was actually in our garage at the time. We just put her in the garage. And so we heard this banging around, and we thought, well, what is that? And so it was Joy, and she had popped up, and she was, all around in the garage and into everything and falling over, and, she had just been born. And so we went out and got her, and we bonded with Joy, but Joy could care less about us. She's out on a pasture now, and she's like, I don't think I want to be your friend. So I think we bond with them more than they do us.
So it's not like the movie City Slickers where
yeah. They're like, hey man, thanks for the help. Now leave me alone.
Right. Yeah. I think all of this, Claire, has given you a lot of grounding so that you can maybe approach life in a realistic fashion, not a fairy tale. I think people go maybe into Nashville with a lot of expectations, and they can really crash and burn because they don't have the resiliency. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Do you have suggestions for people, women in any profession, really? How do they stay resilient? How do they keep plodding along and get those goals?
Wow, I think that's a great question. I think for me, it's just a constant reminder to yourself that you have a dream. You've got to remember that dream. You can't let other people's opinion of your dream matter to you. You have to, I think for me, drawing up those boundaries in terms of what thoughts I will and won't let into my mind has been helpful. And I'm very lucky that I've got a strong support system too. But I think the most important thing is what we allow ourselves to think and whose opinions we listen to. And just keeping that perspective of what it is you want to do. There's a saying out there that to guard your dreams, be careful who you tell your dreams to, because they might, depending on that person, they might tell you can't, and that might discourage you. And I think that's something, you've got to trust your dreams to the right people. Yeah. And until you find those people, you just got to trust them to yourself. And again, going back to kind of what we've already talked about, you can't give a dang what anybody thinks, and you just got to keep going and never quitting.
Love it.
No kidding. That's exactly the key.
Yeah. Not the golden
key.
That's just what I hear.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. You've definitely kept your dreams in focus, as evidenced by your great music. Here's another one of your songs. It's called Get There Tonight.
Shut down, end of the day, Friday, and I just got paid, got the time, and half of mine to spend every penny, so I'm gone like adios, so come on.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Kathy DeCaro is nothing short of amazing. She not only drives the world's biggest truck as a heavy equipment operator in northern Alberta, Canada. She's an international motivational speaker and the author of Dream Big, an autobiography about overcoming a lifetime of trauma and abuse that led to dreams of success. Kathy inspires people the world over to change their lives and improve their self-worth. Her book will change your life. She's passionate about personal growth and believes anyone can change their circumstances and overcome their obstacles if they believe in themselves. Her life will amaze you and seriously inspire you. Be sure to order a copy of her book, Dream Big, on Amazon.com. Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry, our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy DeCaro.
Claire, where do people find your music?
Yes, please look me up on Spotify and YouTube or Apple Music or iTunes, any of those places. Please stream my music there, or you can follow me too on social media. I'm on TikTok, which is a fun experience, and also Instagram, Facebook. Everything is at Clare Dunn Music, ClareDunn Music.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
And you've got a featured single you released. That's exciting. It's called Can't Find My Way Home. I thought I'd feature that so everybody can get a little sneak peek. Let's listen.
Come down off your throne and leave your body alone. Somebody must change. You are the reason I have waited all these years. Somebody holds the key. Well, I'm near the
I really like that. What a great song. I'm glad we could feature it.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all your support.
I appreciate you being on the show, Claire. This has been terrific.
No kidding. What an honor. What an
Yeah.
honor.
Well,
My
well
God,
thank you.
you made my whole week. Thank
Yes.
you.
You're an inspiration to all women. This has been fabulous. Everybody needs to check out your music, Claire. Everybody needs to go to claredunn.com. That's spelled ClareDunn. claredunn.com. Terrific music.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at info@tncradio.live.
Thank you for listening to another great interview on tncradio.live. And don't forget, be sure to subscribe to our podcast of Women Road Warriors. It's free. All of the material you hear on tncradio.live on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of tncradio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live.